it's Shannon. Welcome to the Cozy Christmas Cottage. One of the things that I have really always wanted was a fireplace, especially during the winter and particularly during the Christmas season. They just are so warm and cozy, and of course during Christmas it's a place to hang stockings from. Now currently we are in the middle of building me a nice built-in fireplace with bookcases and cabinets, but it's a pretty big project, one that is going to take quite a bit longer. So eventually I will finally get the fireplace of my dreams, but I found this idea on Pinterest. It was kind of inspired by someone else's design, so I'll make sure to put their link and the original plans down in the description box. But basically, as you can see behind me, I created my own faux fireplace. The best part about it is you can do this in a day and for less than $25. So I think this is such a great way to get that fireplace look without it being a permanent structure, one that you can move around if you want to, and you can also make it whatever size that fits your space. So let me share with you how to make this really simple and easy faux fireplace. All right, for supplies, we're gonna use these fence pickets, which make this project really extremely affordable. These are about $2 a piece, a little bit less, and I have 9 of them here. And I wanted to show you this too before we get started. I do want to add a little bit of an extra touch. So this is just a piece of pine that was ripped down from a previous project that we're going to make work. I'll show you where we are going to add this later on, but this one was ripped down to 3/4 of an inch wide by about 1/2 inch wide. This is totally optional, but we had it and I thought, you know what, we're gonna add this on here and kind of give it a little bit more of that artistic or architectural look. So the very first thing I wanted to mention was that these pickets are 6 foot tall and they are 6 inches wide. They have different kinds of pickets, all of different price points. These we actually let lay on our garage floor for about a week because they came in just completely drenched and wet, and we kept flipping them back and forth because these warp really easily. So we did let these dry out really good before we're working with them today. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna start cutting down my pickets and I will share with you the dimensions as I go along. Alright, so here are my first boards cut down. There are 6 of these here, and I cut each one down to 50.5 inch. And you can see here I cut off the dog ear ends. We're going to save those for another project. Don't throw those out. Those are definitely going to come in handy at some point for something. Always keep your scrap wood, but we don't need that end for this project. So these are basically going to be the legs of our fireplace. I'm going to go ahead and cut down 3 more at 48 inches long for the top part. That's going to be our brace pieces and our mantle.
You can also follow the Cozy Christmas Cottage on Instagram for holiday inspiration all year long. I'll make sure to link that down in the description box below.
Alright, so I have all of my pieces cut down now. I'm going to move on to sanding. I did want to mention that the trim piece was 8 foot long. I cut it in half, so now I have 2 4-foot long pieces. And this fencing is pretty rough material. I want a rustic look, so that's kind of why I went with this. It's also much more inexpensive to do it this way. If you want more of a clean look, or if you plan on staining it, then I would suggest doing 1x6s in pine. You'll pay a little bit more, but you'll get a nicer finish, and it won't take as long to sand, but that is what I'm going to do now. I'm going to use 80 grit sandpaper and go over every single inch of all of these pieces. And now it's time to put this together. So I have 3 pieces of the 50.5-inch lengths. And as you can see here, I have 2 sitting next to each other. And then I have 1 sitting on top of those centered in the middle. So it gives it this dimensional look. I'm going to use my brad nailer with 1-inch brad nails and some wood glue to keep everything together. I'm going to do 2 of these total. Alright, so as I was gluing this, I realized I needed to cut down this middle piece. So the 2 behind it that are sitting next to each other, I definitely want those to be 50.5 inches because that's going to be basically the height of my fireplace. But this front piece, I need to allow for that cross piece in the front. So you need to cut this off. I want this piece to actually be 44 inches long. So I'm going to go ahead and cut 2 of those down so they will be the front decorative pieces. Alright, so I had to move to the floor so I could have some more room since this thing is 4 foot wide. I've already kind of mocked up this top here. Let me bring it in closer so you can see. So I have my trim piece that's butted up against that 1 extra piece we had to cut down to 44 inches. So we have this trim piece. We have 2 more pickets stacked on top of each other. Let me actually pop this one off. This one's just, the top one's to kind of just make it a little bit more chunky. It's also going to keep our mantle that's going to go on top. It'll kind of give it more of a connection point. So let me show you here. So I have these 2 spaced apart 48 inches, and that is what we cut our trim piece down to. So that's going to go first. Next on top of that is going to go another one of our 48-inch sized pickets on top of that. That's going to make everything flush. But we're going to pop 1 more piece of picket on top of this flush. I'll get it all straightened up for you before I actually nail it all together. But that's going to give us that just an extra little bit of chunkiness there. So that's how this is all going to get layered. I'm going to use my wood glue and my brad nails again. And then this is the very last piece that is going to go on top, like so. Alright, so here it is all built, and I am going to go ahead and paint it, but I would love to hear your opinion. Would you paint this, or would you leave it this rough exposed wood? It's going to go up against this shiplap wall, and once I brought it in here, I really thought I love the wood look. However, I have a lot of other wood tones going on in here, so I think I'm going to go ahead and paint it white. But let me know down in the comments, what would you have done? Would you have painted it? Would you have left it? Another reason I'm going to paint it is because I have this pine strip here, which is a different wood than the pickets. And I really want this to flow nicely together so that I can change out the decor on the top. So I'm going to be using Rust-Oleum's chalked chalk paint in the color Linen White for this. and my vintage tonality chalk paint brushes. I will link these down in the description box. I got them from Amazon, and it's like a kit. It comes with different paint brushes, and this is a sanding block that comes with it. So I want this to have a chippy look. I'm gonna do one coat, really kind of sporadically, just dry brush it so I can still see some of those wood tones coming through. And then I may come back in with this sanding block and distress it even more.
I love that this faux fireplace is useful all year long, not just during the holiday season. If you haven't yet, please subscribe and click that Christmas bell so that you can come back and visit the Cozy Christmas Cottage for weekly holiday inspiration. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye everyone.